kind of want to start by just talking about the Dior customer experience. And I'm really curious because, Anastasia, you've done some field work. You've done some work in the field. So kind of tell us, as someone that has, you've tried on his collection, you've
Mm.
worn it, you've seen the fabrics, you've, played around with it. What are your initial thoughts after seeing J.W. Anderson's Dior in hand?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have a complete experience in the sense that at the time, like it was beginning mid-January, I think, the whole menswear was not there yet, but still they had part of it. But still, I can make an opinion out of it. So I visited both. There in Paris, there are three boutiques. One is in Saint Honoré, a smaller one, but the two big ones are in Champs-Élysées, and there is one in Avenue Montaigne. So, because I went to both of them on purpose. So, the first one was Champs-Élysées. Let's start with the vitrines. They were very interesting because you could tell there is a new creative director. They were very playful. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. This with a lot of boxes where
Of
they're
course.
carrying. Yeah, but then once I got in, it was so interesting because first of all, there were so many different sections where they had a lot of accessories. I even saw summer sandals, which I guess are for the Arab women that come from abroad, which well, already this I don't understand because they you can put this kind of merchandise in the Middle East. There is Dior in the Middle East. There is no need, in my opinion, to confuse consumers with summer shoes at the same time. And they already have their like very the commercial versions like sneakers, all these kind of commercial things dilute completely the collections. So the only thing I saw in the store was the bar jacket in green wool and the Delft shorts, which I wore, by the way. Yeah. So and another one that was like a black long tailcoat with golden buttons. So of course the bags were there, the accessories were there, very well displayed because accessories are very important always. But what surprised me so much was that if somebody, let's say the average customer, gets in the store, goes to the store, they don't realize there is a new creative director, and that for me is very problematic. There was no coherence, so I saw just there was the bar jacket and the shorts. That was the only thing that was on display, styled like this together. Other than that, even some items that were from the collection, like for example, there were some sweaters in different colorways. These were styled not at all as we saw them on the runway. And that for me is very problematic because part of how J.W. Anderson presents Dior, he uses already a lot of denim, is styling. He suggests this kind of man, he doesn't just suggest pieces of clothing. So if let's say you take the jeans and you put them, you style them in a classic way, the display becomes Lacoste. I
Right.
mean, literally, there was like
Right.
it was like a white shirt, denim, and like the sweater put like this, and it's like this cable, this sweater, like I don't know how we call it, that has this kind of, I don't know how we call it, but anyway, a very, very expected kind of sweater, nothing in viscose, it was nothing. So
Right.
this for me
Do you
was
mean
very frustrating.
like the cravat type of thing, or was it something else?
No, the sweaters. If you
Oh,
if you
okay.
remember, he had it like in this very vivid, almost like Bottega. By the way, I was surprised that they had this Bottega kind of green on a sweater and a pink as well. So for me, this was very frustrating because it was styled to the average customer, which doesn't make any sense at all. Because if you hire a creative director to give a new vision, but then you want to take it out at the same time. Like it's weird because it's almost like schizophrenic as a logic, I want to do it, but I'm not doing it. And even some other few items that were there, like the tailcoat, it was by itself somewhere. If you don't notice it, it's not even there. No, it was not put for people to this one. So somebody had to notice it to see it. But of course, if you don't work in fashion, you're not going to have the eye to notice all these
Yeah.
things. So
Yeah.
it's almost like it's so weird. It was so weird to me to see that. And Avenue Montaigne was even worse because it's such a big store and it's so diluted because you have accessories and then you have also a lot of merchandise that is classic bar jackets and classic long alpha shaped skirts and classic shirts. And the only thing you recognize was the little, it's not a flower, the little green that he used in the bags. How do we call this?
Yeah.
That brings luck. Yeah, just this. So, I mean, okay, we know that J.W. Anderson used that, but for somebody, they're just gonna buy a white shirt and a skirt. And so you have that department too, by the way, which is like for the consumers that want to buy that, and then you have very little of what the designer did, and it's not even presented in the way he styled it. So you lose all the vision behind that. And the accessories, of course, were there. There were fantastic brooches, this I have to say. And there you could tell that there is a change in creative direction. And the bags, of course. But I was very disappointed to see that, because to me it's almost offensive. I don't know what kind of say J.W. Anderson has on that, but I find it such a big gap, because on the reports they always say, the brands that, like most of these brands, they hired creative directors to just change, give a new vision and new creativity.
Yep.
So if it doesn't translate in a strong way in the store, and we end up again in this thing that disturbs me so much, like, is it the consumer who dictates, or is it the creative director who proposes to the consumer what he should be interested in? And I mean, even for a regular customer of Dior, are they going to buy another shirt and another skirt? I mean, eventually, maybe they also get bored, I don't know. Like, even for
That to
them,
me
I
is
think would
the
want. It's very interesting to discuss that, because there is such a big gap how it translates.
Yeah, I
So
think I think that's a problem personally,
it's a
because I
big
think
problem.
if you think of designers that really sell a lot, and they are the reason why they sell a lot, not just the machine of the luxury brand. Like an Eddie Stamon, for example. When Eddie came, of course he changed the Celine stores. But when you go into the Celine stores, normally the entrance would be the kind of easy product stuff for everyone. So you would get the
Yeah,
t-shirts, the sweatshirts, the shoes, the perfume, all that sort of
yeah,
stuff. And then when you go downstairs, that's all the runway stuff. And that's when you would have things styled in the way that Eddie Simon wants it. And they kind of suggest ways that you should pair things. And I'm so
yeah.
sure one of the reasons why Celine made so much money and kind of progressed financially is because of that. Like,
Mm.
people are like, oh, I want to get this look. And then they would buy things as looks and really understand what the look is supposed to be. So I think it's kind of terrible that they aren't really suggesting to people, this is how the creative director has wanted people to style it, or this is kind of the vision, this is how you pair it together, this is how you style them together. I also think it's more intriguing when things are styled the Anderson way versus just like a random tailcoat in the corner and then a polo shirt here and a
Yeah, it's
t-shirt,
exactly
because
that.
yeah, that's really bad. That's really bad.
Like, I literally went inside and demanded for one of the people that were working there to show me what they have. Even me, I had to search. And then another thing is that the people that work there, they're not going to suggest too much. They should play a very important role in that, because the average consumer doesn't know how to style these things together. So if also they're just there in a passive role, just to cater for you as a luxury client. But they should be much more active than this. They should be the ones that once you enter, they should suggest, let me show you what is, and introduce you to the new collection. So even they were very passive. It's almost like they're told that whatever they ask you, just, offer to the consumer, but the consumers are clueless. Most of the
Do you
consumers
do
are
you
clueless.
reckon that the staff in these stores, do you reckon that they're actually trained on that? Like, they actually know every piece in the collection and they can speak about the
No, and
inspiration?
many of them, they don't have that skill. Like, the same thing happened to me. I went to Dries Van Noten, and then nobody's there to suggest you anything. Okay, I'm a stylist, so obviously
Yeah.
I can choose and put things. But like, if somebody, let's say, wants to go, let's say not even Dior, okay, Dries Van Noten. They have one boutique, one women's wear and one men's wear, fantastic boutiques, and they have almost all the runway pieces. So what happens in that case is that you go to the store and people are just waiting for you to ask them, what size you need. I mean, you are supposed to introduce me to the brand and, tell me, would you like to try this? It's very interesting, this with that, no, nothing. They don't say nothing. And I was shocked to see that, because this is bad for the brand also. You cannot promote a brand like this. Somebody comes in, if people are not acquainted, let's say, with Dries Van Noten, they will feel very intimidated by the clothes already. They're like, somebody has to somehow give them a suggestion, otherwise they get lost. There's so much clothes in there and they would not know what to choose. So, because not everybody that goes into Dries Van Noten, let's say, some people are discovering the brand, they have money, but they
Yep.
like the vitrine, they want to go in. It doesn't mean that you're like a fanatic of Dries Van Noten. You have other kinds of clients too. And I was shocked to see that probably they're not trained. They might know,
That's
the models
crazy.
of the bags and this kind of thing, but on clothing, in particular on clothing, On accessories, maybe they're better actually, but on clothing, nobody shows you anything. Like it's very passive. The role is really very passive, and I find this as astounding. For me, it doesn't make any sense at all. It's not good for the brand.
Yeah, Jennifer says, I've noticed the most successful shops and the most rewarding retail experiences have the best trained
Oh,
staff.
of course,
Which,
it makes
yeah,
sense.
I think the best sales assistants or associates, they are people that can educate you about the clothing. I've
Yeah,
always thought that the best way to sell someone something is to educate them on it. If
yeah,
you're like telling them, oh, this is significant because J.W. Anderson's inspired by 17th century menswear and he's trying to modernize it. It's so interesting to the average consumer that has
yeah.
money. You could almost sell them into buying what they didn't intend to buy. But when you don't really
Yes.
have anything to say, I think their assumption is that I'm getting a commission and the bags are going to sell, so I just focus on the bags. But they're losing out on all the sales they could make on everything else if they just knew a bit more about it.
Yes. The only store, I mean, not the only, but one very good example is Dover Street, Paris. People are they know very well what they're selling, most of them. The people that work there, they themselves are very styled. You can tell they're people that understand clothing. But on the bigger brands, it depends. I mean, some are a little bit better than others. Like at Stella McCartney, when I went, the lady, she was suggesting me the dresses, she was telling me this is from the catwalk and this is something. So it was much more interesting. Very underrated brand, by the way, Stella McCartney. I don't know why.
Yeah, I
Fantastic,
love Stella McCartney.
very well made clothes. Very reasonable prices for what you get, really, compared to other brands. But yeah, I mean, and then the consumer doesn't get inspired because who is going to inspire the consumer? You go to Dior, and even the consumer might say, "Why should I buy another skirt or another pair of sneakers?" So it's such a shame because it creates such a huge distortion, like, and then people say, "Yeah, fashion is boring." Yeah, because you didn't see fashion. Because of course, they're not going to look at the runway like we look at it. And ideally, in my opinion, it should be even, screens where the
Yeah,
runway is, like you see the runway, like you
yeah.
enter and like somewhere on a big screen, there is the runway going on. So that people get at least, because I'm sure even if they don't buy it, at least it's interesting to see for them. Because
Agreed.
who would be, okay, you're going to buy another skirt and another, and as I told you, it dilutes everything. It's such a shame, really.
I actually think, kind of
Yeah.
similar to what some people are echoing in the chat, I just think that if you want to build brand loyalty, the more people know about the
Mm.
brand, the more connected they'll probably feel to the brand. At least that's my personal opinion. Like, if I was running a store, I'd make sure everyone was, like, if I was the manager of a store, I'd make sure that everyone was educated about everything so that they can speak to it
Yeah,
properly. It's not
100%.
that much. It's not even that much work. It's one brand. Like us for our job, we have to
No.
learn about all the different brands. You just have to learn about one brand. What are they doing on the runway? What are the inspirations? It's really not that hard. It's not even that much work.
You know what I think it is? I think it is very much the fact that many people in retail are not passionate about retail and they're not passionate about clothes. They do it just for the money, and many of them they're doing it as a temporary job to pass to other things. So it might have to do with that, but still training from the company should be, compulsory, it should be there. But I don't see any passion for clothes.
All right.
That's, because otherwise you're interested yourself to talk about it when you're passionate. Yeah, I think they're confused. Like I really think big brands at this point, it's almost like they want to take a risk, but then they pull back at the same time. It's like, yes, we want new creative directors, but wait a minute. Let's not show it as it is because we might lose customers. You might lose customers, which you want, but then you gain new customers. That's
I
always the
know.
case. Otherwise, it's like, and then why they hire them? For who? Like, and sometimes I wonder, like, for who are you hiring? Okay, a different story. It has a specific clientele. It's a completely different thing. But about that, okay, you're hiring Mathieu Blazy and J.W. Anderson and other people in big brands, but then at the store we almost don't see it.
Yeah, I think
And then I want to
sometimes this
discuss
is
with you,
this.
this.
No, I was just gonna say quickly that one thing to note. I don't think this is
Mm,
relevant to JW, but I think sometimes when creative directors change too frequently, they have to spend so much money investing
mhm.
into changing the stores. So a lot of brands I've seen recently have kind of pushed back against spending millions and millions to change all the stores and all that sort of stuff. Now that is not really relevant to JW because Kim Jones was there for a while before he left, and Maria Grazia Curie was there for a while until she left. So
Yeah.
because of that, I'm sure they would be willing to put more money into like reinvesting, changing the stores, changing the display. So I don't think this is relevant to JW. So I think there's even more of a reason why the way that they display the stuff in the Dior stores should be different.
Ah, definitely. Yeah, because I mean, styling it as it's styled on the runway is not even a financial issue.
Yeah,
This
I
is
totally
just
agree.
they are told to style to put it like this. It's yeah.
Yeah, if it's
I
an
didn't
iconic
yet.
brand image like Chrome Heart slash ERD, people will be eager to learn about it. Yeah, agreed, agreed. Even if it's just as they should have this swirling balloon skirt that ties into a bow and a mannequin with a bar jacket and shoes on display at every store. Agreed, totally agreed. Because it's like that's the vision of the brand. That's like how JW Anderson is recontextualizing Dior house codes. It's like that should be front and center. That speaks to heritage.
Yeah,
I wonder how many of the
yeah,
high value
definitely.
Dior customers have personal shoppers and stylists that would lead Dior to ignore such critical training for Jensen's collections coming into store. I guess that's the main thing, right? It's like the average Dior
Yeah.
consumer, kind of how do they shop and what stuff do they buy? I would still disagree with however they're doing it in the store and saying that they could probably sell more if they just did it differently, but they'll never know because they probably won't try it because they're playing it too safe. So I guess that's just the situation.
And I
Because
mean, this
I
is
think
I mean,
between wages for shop staff and designer pricing too. The in-store discount offer, it's not inspiring to learn about the clothes. Yeah, I guess so, but I think even if it's, let's say it's not inspiring for the staff, obviously because like you get paid a certain amount and you're selling clothing that's worth X. I think just in terms of, let's say for a selfish reasons, you want to make more money. I mean, the more you sell, the more commissions you get, the more money you make. So even just for your own personal reasons, there's still like a big benefit to learning about the collections, if that makes sense.
yes, yes. And then you shouldn't also be qualified to be in there. I mean, I don't know if you go into a brand and you're not interesting to sell, it's a disaster.
It's a disaster for the customers.
As well, because the customer is completely lost. Even personal
Yeah.
shoppers and stylists on a personal styling level, very often they themselves they don't know the vision of the brand, and they're not supposed to. Also, it's not their job. But yeah, I mean, I keep saying that creative people are the ones who should, in a way, impose, but not in a bad. I don't say it negatively, impose to
Yeah,
the
of
consumer.
course.
This is the cool thing, like for example, when I mean, the same example with Dior, it's when Galliano came, like the saddle bag at the time was a bit of an outrageous bag. Now it's a classic. I mean, things are like that. Things you need to be tested and things need to be challenged. So he created a whole different Dior, and it was very successful. But why not today? Or unless the consumer has changed also today. Is it because the consumer is more conservative that this kind of approach is dictated, or is it? I don't know. But it's not
Yeah.
tested anymore to really see doing something a little bit outrageous, not even outrageous, just interesting. I would even say at this point. And Anderson didn't do anything outrageous, but let's test it out and see. I mean, why not? At least we'll see
Yeah.
something that will make you smile. Going to the store, even if you don't buy something, it's like pleasant to look at instead of looking at the same skirts and white shirts. Like me, when I saw this thing that looked like Lacoste, I was like, what? Like it really, literally, the styling itself is like, you understand what I'm saying? It's like, it looks like, I'm like, how can that be? And then, of course, what will happen is also that the consumer will end up saying, rightfully so, I would say, that why would I give so much money? I can buy it at Lacoste. Because you don't give him a new product.
Yep.
You dissociate it, on the styling level. So like you completely dissociate. At least if you offer mundane things like a denim, but you style it in the way that it should, he might buy it because you're giving him a vision like, oh, okay, I never thought I can dress. I can put the jean with that. But
Agreed.
if you don't do that, then the consumer will also think like, why should I buy Dior denim? For what? And I mean, and it's correct to think like that, you know?
What did Lee
I
say?
don't understand. They have so many people working at high positions, and it baffles me if they didn't think about this. Business.
Yeah, Lee, I agree with what you're saying because yeah, people like when you watch all these reality TV shows with rich people just shopping, they're always like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go to Paris to go shopping." Like everyone goes to Paris to go shopping. Like all rich people
Mm,
always go to Paris shopping. So the more interesting things you show them, the more I personally feel like they could be sold.
yes,
But I guess
yes.
that's just not their focus right now.
I think, as I told you, they're not sure what to do because it's not like with what they're doing currently with playing it safe that they're increasing their sales. They have a problem.
Yeah.
Sales have dropped, which means that this doesn't work apparently. So it's not like they have figured it out, so they keep the safe solution, so it's too risky. No, what they're doing actually is not even helping them. So they should test something else, at least something a little bit risky.
Agreed.
Otherwise, if you don't take a risk, there is no point.
He needs better men's bags, no more messengers. Do you know what's funny though?
Absolutely.
J.W. Anderson was never really known for like designing menswear bags that fly off the shelves.
Yeah.
Like if you think of stuff that he's designed, like what? The Pierce bag, that's more for like a women's wear thing. And the puzzle bag at Loewe, that's more of like a women's wear thing. He's never really actually designed a bag that in
True.
menswear has been huge. Like it's never happened. So I don't even think it's like his strong suit to design like bags for men that like really work. In recent times, the most successful bags in menswear, things like the Elix bags, like those kind of things. J.W. Anderson hasn't done one of those yet. Yeah, the loafer bag, but that wasn't really... The loafer bag, I don't think went viral compared to things like the Pierce or the puzzle bag. It was kind of just like a thing for a little moment.
Yeah.
Had like a tiny little moment. But he does design good bags. I just think it just becomes big in women's wear more than it does in menswear.
Yeah, of course.
Even consider the customers that are from different regions where the stores are basically just stocking only bags and accessories and maybe a logo tee. Yeah, that's true. And like even when you go to airports, most luxury stores are literally just bags, shoes, and logo pieces, and that's it. So
But
when you have one of the main stores, there should be a way bigger focus.
Yeah, I don't know if they do the same in London because it's not that touristic. I mean, if it's a general policy in all countries, in all boutiques, and then I mean, Paris was a tourist attraction in the past. It doesn't mean that when Dior was under Galliano that it was not spectacular. I mean, I'm not sure it's the tourist effect issue. I think on the contrary, Paris should be representing the finest because it's considered the capital of fashion. So
I agree.
and and I told you, it's not even that they're selling more. I mean, in the end, they're going to discredit themselves. You know, they will somehow discrediting themselves by selling things that are like we are seeing all the time. And then, of course, people will start saying, yeah, it's too expensive for that. And yeah, because if you don't sell some design as well, you know, it's what are you going to sell? It has to be something, some innovation in there, some kind of innovation. Yeah.
Yeah. This YouTube channel runs on your support. If you want to support the channel, you can subscribe to my Patreon. You'll gain access to exclusive content that includes everything from my Patreon podcast, where I give a behind-the-scenes insight into the fashion industry, as well as a fashion book club, where I review my favorite fashion books. You can also check out my fashion ebook, which highlights the best fashion journalists to follow, definitions of common fashion terminology, and how to determine what a good source of fashion information is. The links to everything are in the description below.